This might feel sudden and even a little unnerving, but it's not an accident. You stumbled upon this exact moment. You, the chosen one, have been guided here because something inside you already knows a profound shift just happened beneath your very feet. You might be wondering why your world seems to buzz differently, or why certain old worries don't cling to you the way they used to. That's a sign you are no longer in the same timeline you occupied yesterday. Consider this a wake-up call to be so wildly, unabashedly you, starting now, because you are a chosen one. You have a role in this grand story that's bigger than you've dared to imagine. The question is, are you ready to answer that call? There comes a point in life when something deep within you whispers, you're not who you were yesterday. It's subtle but undeniable. You begin to feel different. Your thoughts, emotions, even the way you respond to the world around you shifts. This isn't just growth. It's a calling, a divine invitation into a version of yourself that has always been waiting. This is the moment you were meant to find. Not a coincidence, but a cosmic appointment. You didn't stumble here. Your soul guided you. You may have noticed your old world beginning to crumble. Certain habits, environments, or people just don't align anymore. It's as if your spirit is gently peeling away the layers of who you thought you had to be so that the truth of who you really are can finally breathe. There's grief in this process, yes, but also breathtaking freedom. You're not broken. You're birthing yourself anew. In spiritual terms, this is a timeline jump, a shift into a higher vibrational frequency where your reality begins to reflect your soul's evolution. It's like changing the channel on a cosmic radio. Suddenly, what used to entertain or satisfy you feels hollow. And what once scared you, it now excites you. You're not imagining it. You're aligning. The universe brings you to this place when you're ready. Even if you feel anything but, you didn't miss your chance. You're right on time. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every false start, each one carried the seeds of this moment. And now your soul is whispering louder. This is the threshold. Step through. If you've ever felt like the black sheep, the odd one out, or the deeply sensitive soul in a world that seemed too loud, know this. It wasn't a flaw. It was evidence. Evidence that you were chosen, not in an egoic way, but in a sacred cosmic sense. Chosen to see through the illusion, chosen to rise, awaken, and lead by simply being yourself. To be chosen doesn't mean life has been easy. In fact, it often means the opposite. The chosen ones are tested, not as punishment, but preparation. You've endured emotional storms others can't comprehend because your soul signed up to clear ancestral trauma, break generational cycles, and pave the way for others. That strength, that sensitivity, it's your superpower. But here's the truth most don't talk about. Being chosen can feel isolating. When you're waking up in a world still half asleep, loneliness is part of the terrain. You may even doubt your sanity, question your path, and wonder if you're imagining it all. But you're not. Others have walked this path too, quietly, bravely, just like you. This path isn't about superiority, it's about service. You're not above anyone. You're just awakening before some. And your light, your love, your healing presence will ripple outward in ways you can't yet see. Don't dim your shine to make others comfortable. The world needs your authenticity now more than ever. Have you noticed certain things no longer make sense the way they used to? Maybe the foods you once craved now taste dull. People who once felt like home now feel foreign. You're not losing your mind. You've shifted timelines. When your frequency changes, your entire energetic landscape does too. You might also see repeating numbers, 111, 222, 555, and feel like the universe is trying to speak to you. It is. These are synchronistic signs, little winks from the cosmos reminding you that you're on the right path. They often arrive in clusters, especially when you're close to a breakthrough. Pay attention. Spirit is speaking louder. Now, another powerful sign is an inner knowing that your desires are closer than they appear. Even when nothing has physically changed, your energy knows something has shifted. You might feel more at peace, more curious, or even oddly emotional. These aren't random feelings. They're energetic confirmations that you've moved beyond your old reality. And with this shift comes a heightened sense of responsibility, not to perform, but to align. You'll be called to protect your energy, set firmer. Every person carries a unique vibrational frequency, much like a spiritual fingerprint. And as you evolve, so does your energetic signature. You're no longer vibrating at the same frequency as your past. Your energy has upgraded. This internal shift might be invisible to the eye, but its effects are monumental. Suddenly, what once drained you becomes intolerable. You physically can't stomach toxic conversations, manipulative behaviors, or environments saturated with negativity. Your body begins to speak louder. Your emotions more pronounced. That's not weakness, it's alignment. You're becoming more attuned to truth, to light, to love. As your vibrational field elevates, so do the types of people and opportunities drawn to you. This is why you may find old friendships fading, while new soul twin connections appear seemingly out of nowhere. Energy doesn't lie, and your new frequency will only attract what mirrors your inner state. This vibrational upgrade also means you must be more intentional. What you consume, food, media, music, even thoughts, shapes your frequency. Protect your field like it's sacred, because it is. You are not who you were, and that's not something to fear. It's something to celebrate. Change, even when divinely guided, can feel like chaos. You may feel restless, uncertain, even agitated. This is the in-between space, the sacred void between who you were and who you're becoming. It's not a mistake. It's part of the alchemy. The soul often stirs discomfort as a way of shedding the old skin, making room for the new. In these moments, it's common to crave clarity, to want answers, to make sense of the shifting ground beneath you. But transformation isn't always tidy. It doesn't arrive with a manual or a map. Sometimes the only compass you'll have is your breath, your tears, and your quiet knowing that something greater is at work. Give yourself grace in the confusion. You're not meant to figure it all out right now. You're meant to feel your way through it. Restlessness is often the soul's way of saying you're outgrowing your current container. It's time to expand. Honor that message. Don't suppress it. Let it guide you forward. Transformation isn't about forcing change. It's about surrendering to it. Let the old version of you fall away without shame. You're not lost. You're being reborn. Like a seed breaking open in the dark soil, you're making way for something magnificent, something only you can become. There's a moment in every awakening where you realize the beliefs you were handed no longer fit the life you're being called to live. The patterns you repeated out of fear, obligation, or conditioning, suddenly they crack. And in that crack, a new truth emerges. You are free to choose again. This breaking away can feel like betrayal, betrayal of family traditions, of societal expectations, even of your former self. But what you're really doing is liberating yourself. You're shedding outdated stories so your soul can write a new narrative, one rooted in love, sovereignty, and truth. Notice what keeps repeating in your life. Are there cycles of self-sabotage, recurring relationships that drain you, inner critics that echo voices from your past? These are the signs. They're not here to punish you. They're pointing you toward your power. Every time you choose differently, you reclaim a piece of your soul. Your healing isn't just for you. When you break a pattern, you're breaking it for every version of you that believed it was the only way, and often for the generations before you who couldn't. That's what it means to be a cycle breaker. It's not easy, but it's holy work. Have you been seeing repeated numbers like 111, 333, or 555? Maybe songs, symbols, or messages seem to appear just when you need them most. These aren't coincidences. They're synchronicities, divine signposts from the universe letting you know you're on the right track. Synchronicities are the language of alignment. They're how spirit communicates when words fail. Each number carries a frequency. 111 often signals new beginnings, 222 balance and partnership, 555 massive transformation. When they appear, pause. Feel the moment. Acknowledge the guidance. It's not just numbers, though. It's those perfectly timed conversations, unexpected delays that lead to blessings, or dreams that leave you breathless with clarity. These are sacred breadcrumbs from the universe, nudging you to pay attention, to remember that you are not walking this path alone. The more you trust these signs, the more they appear. Your awareness amplifies their frequency. You become a co-creator with the universe, engaged in a beautiful dialogue of symbols, nudges, and miracles. This is what it feels like to live in tune with your soul's highest path. One of the most confusing aspects of awakening is how real everything becomes. Colors seem more vivid, sounds feel louder, your emotions hit harder. It's as if a veil has been lifted, and it has. You're perceiving life not just with your eyes, but with your soul. This heightened awareness can be overwhelming. You may suddenly feel drained in crowds, deeply affected by someone else's pain, or unable to watch media that glorifies suffering. That's not weakness, it's sensitivity. You're attuning to a higher frequency where compassion and clarity are heightened. Reality feels sharper because you're no longer numbing or bypassing. You're seeing things as they truly are, not through the lens of conditioning. That means confronting illusions, including your own. It takes courage to witness the truth without turning away. But that's exactly what you're being called to do. This new perception is a gift, though it doesn't always feel like one. It allows you to move with greater intention, to notice the magic in the mundane, to catch the quiet whisper of your soul. Stay grounded. Breathe. You're not too sensitive. You're finally awake. As you shift, you'll feel the urge to release people, places, and roles that once defined you. This release isn't an act of abandonment, it's an act of alignment. You're not running away from your past. You're honoring the truth that it no longer reflects your present. Letting go can feel like death, but it's the death of illusion, not of love. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for your soul is to walk away from what no longer nourishes it. That might be a job, a relationship, a belief, or even an outdated version of yourself. People may not understand your evolution. Some may resist it. Others may try to pull you back into your old identity. Let them. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your healing. You are allowed to evolve out loud, to become someone new, even if it disrupts someone else's story of who you are. Release with reverence. Thank what once served you. Then bless it and let it go. When your hands are no longer clinging to the past, they're free to catch the future. What's meant for you won't require you to shrink, twist, or betray yourself. It will feel like freedom. There's a sacred silence before rebirth, a stillness that isn't empty, but full of divine anticipation. In this space, you may feel invisible, like nothing's happening, but beneath the surface, your soul is preparing. This is the quiet power of readiness. Just as seeds germinate in darkness, so too does your transformation take root in stillness. Don't rush it. Don't demand clarity before it's time. Trust that you are being rearranged in ways that will make sense in hindsight. Rest, reflect, receive. Your rebirth is on its way. When it comes, it won't be loud. It will arrive like a deep exhale. A moment when you look in the mirror and see a softness in your eyes, a strength in your posture, a knowing in your spirit. This is the moment your rebirth begins, not with fanfare, but with presence. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a choice. Even when you're afraid, unsure, or unprepared, you can still say yes to the new. Say yes, even trembling. Say yes, even with tears. Because every yes you offer in faith becomes a doorway to the life your soul has always dreamed of. We're taught to cling to identity, to labels, roles, and versions of ourselves that feel safe. But true growth demands fluidity. Who you are is not a static construct. It's an evolving masterpiece being painted with every breath, every choice, every awakening. Maybe you've been the caregiver, the achiever, the peacekeeper. Maybe you've lived in the shadows of should for far too long. But now you're being asked to release those old titles. Not because they were wrong, but because they're too small for who you're becoming. You're allowed to outgrow your identity. You're allowed to try on new ways of being, new expressions of self. This is the freedom your soul craves, to live without apology, without the pressure to be consistent at the cost of your authenticity. Let yourself be a mystery. Let yourself unfold. You are not here to be one thing forever. You are here to evolve, to reinvent, to expand until your life becomes an honest reflection of your soul. And that, beloved, is the most beautiful identity of all. If you feel like you've been placed in solitude, like life has silenced everything familiar around you, it's not punishment. It's preparation. This loneliness you're feeling isn't emptiness. It's a sacred hush, the divine quiet before your next great expansion. In these moments, it might feel like no one understands you. Friends grow distant, conversations feel hollow, and even your own thoughts feel too heavy to carry. But here's the truth. Your soul is being rewired. You're in a cocoon, shedding what no longer serves. That quiet isn't abandonment. It's alignment. Think of the caterpillar. It dissolves entirely inside the chrysalis before becoming the butterfly, and during that process, it's completely alone. You too are dissolving the old. You are being made new. It's not meant to be a social process. It's meant to be a sacred one. Use this solitude to meet yourself. Read, reflect, walk in nature. Cry if you need to. Laugh when you can. Your soul is making room for something magnificent. And when the time is right, the universe will fill that space with relationships, opportunities, and experiences that match your new vibration. For now, trust the quiet. You are not alone. You're becoming. Let's be honest. Change can be terrifying. It rips away what we know and asks us to trust in what we can't yet see. But the truth is, nothing grows in comfort, and transformation rarely asks permission. It arrives when your soul is ready, not when your ego is prepared. Discomfort is often misread as a sign that something is wrong, but it's actually a sign that something is working. It's your old self resisting the unknown. Not because the unknown is dangerous, but because it's different. It's stretching, expanding, birthing something new. To embrace change, we must be willing to grieve what's ending. Even as we celebrate what's beginning, you can hold both sorrow and hope. You can honor the fear while still choosing faith. This is what emotional maturity looks like. Not bypassing, but integrating. Remember, the most beautiful chapters of your life often begin with the scariest decisions. Don't wait to feel ready. Ready is a myth. What's real is your courage. Even if it's quiet, even if it's trembling, let that courage guide you. Because on the other side of discomfort is freedom. Your intuition is the sacred voice within, the knowing that speaks without words, the feeling that lands before facts. In times of spiritual shift, logic may fail you. It may try to analyze what your soul already understands. That's when you must lean into your intuition. Intuition often whispers what logic screams against. It may ask you to walk away from something that looks perfect on paper. It may guide you towards something that doesn't make sense to anyone else. That's because your soul sees far beyond the surface. It knows what's real, what's aligned, what's divine. Trusting your intuition takes practice. You must learn to distinguish it from fear. Fear is loud, frantic, urgent. Intuition is calm, clear, grounded. It feels like truth. It feels like peace. And when you follow it, even if the path is uncertain, life begins to unfold in miraculous ways. Let your inner knowing lead the way. Take time to get quiet, journal, meditate, place a hand on your heart and ask, what is true for me in this moment? Then listen, not to the noise outside, but to the voice within. It has never led you astray. It never will. This journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to the most radiant, unfiltered, authentic version of you. The version that existed before the world told you who to be, before fear hardened your heart, before you dimmed your light to be accepted. As you peel back the layers, you'll find parts of yourself that feel wild, soft, powerful, tender. Let them live. Your authenticity is not a liability. It's your greatest asset. When you show up as your full, unapologetic self, you give others permission to do the same. That's leadership. That's healing. Radiance doesn't come from perfection. It comes from presence, from owning your flaws, celebrating your gifts, and standing in your truth even when your voice shakes. It's not about being fearless. It's about being real. And there is nothing more magnetic than someone who knows who they are and lives from that place. So shine unapologetically. Live big. Love loud. Be soft where you once had to be hard. Be bold where you once played small. The world doesn't need more copies. It needs your essence. The most radiant thing you can do in this lifetime is to be fully, freely you. Not everyone hears the voice of the soul. In fact, many live their whole lives chasing noise, never stopping long enough to notice the quiet pull within. But if you're here reading this, you've heard it. That sacred nudge, that inner guidance, that sense that you were made for more. The soul doesn't shout, it whispers. And it's whispering to you. This voice might sound like a longing you can't explain, a craving for authenticity, a need to leave behind what no longer fits. It's not a phase, it's your soul waking you up. The more you listen, the clearer it becomes. It speaks through intuition, synchronicities, deep feelings, and even your tears. The language of the soul is energy, not because you're broken, but because you're disconnected. The soul is your compass. Reconnection is your healing. So tune in, trust the signs, honor the pull. You don't need to explain it to anyone else. Your path is sacred. You don't need approval to follow what feels true. The soul doesn't whisper to everyone. But when it does, it's because you're ready. Ready to live in alignment, to walk with truth, and to embody the divine within. There are days when everything feels like it's unraveling. Your plans don't work, your emotions overflow, and your inner world feels like a war zone. But this breakdown is not destruction, it's reconstruction. What's falling apart is not your life. It's the illusion. It's the version of you that was built on fear instead of truth. It hurts because you've outgrown it. You've outgrown relationships that require self-betrayal. You've outgrown environments that expect your silence. You've outgrown the version of you who tolerated what your soul could no longer bear. That's not a crisis. That's clarity. That's power. That's evolution in action. Imagine a house being torn down so a stronger one can be built. That's you. You're clearing away the fragile foundations so your soul can finally build something unshakable. The mess is temporary. The magic is permanent. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of your most aligned chapter yet. So let yourself fall, let yourself break, then rise, wiser, lighter, truer. You're not falling apart. You're falling into place, into purpose, into power, into the fullest expression of who you came here to be. We want healing to be tidy, a checklist, a straight road from pain to peace. But the truth is, healing is not linear. It's a spiral. You'll revisit the same wound from different angles. Each time deeper, each time with more compassion and less fear. And that's not regression, that's refinement. You may think you're back where you started when the old emotions return, but you're not. This time you're meeting them with new wisdom. This time you have tools. This time you're staying instead of running. That's healing. That's courage. That's growth in its truest form. Sometimes healing looks like crying on a random Tuesday for a wound you thought was closed. Sometimes it's smiling at a memory that used to break you. Sometimes it's choosing silence over defensiveness, forgiveness over revenge, or boundaries over people-pleasing. All of it counts. All of it is sacred. Honor your spiral. Don't rush to the finish line. Healing isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. And that journey will take you back through every version of yourself you once disowned, so you can finally bring them home with love. Your energy isn't just a vibe, it's a signal, a magnet, a blueprint for what you attract. If you've been upgrading internally, then the external shifts are coming too. But first, you must protect your frequency like it's sacred. Because it is. Your peace is not optional, it's foundational. You might feel more sensitive now. That's not weakness, it's alignment. You're starting to notice what drains you, who dims you, what places leave you heavy. That awareness is your guide. Your energy is your greatest currency. Don't spend it on people, patterns, or environments that bankrupt your soul. When your frequency rises, your standards will too. That doesn't make you too much. It makes you self-aware. You're allowed to walk away from anything that doesn't honor your growth. You're allowed to choose peace over drama, stillness over chaos, truth over comfort. This isn't about being better than anyone. It's about being better for yourself. Your frequency creates your future. So guard it, nurture it, and watch how your life begins to reflect the light you fought so hard to keep lit. It's hard when things don't go according to plan. When the door closes, the job falls through, or the relationship ends before it really begins. It feels like rejection. It feels like failure. But what if the delay is divine? What if the universe isn't denying you, but redesigning you? Sometimes you're not being punished, you're being protected. That thing you thought you wanted may have been too small, too shallow, too misaligned with the soul you're becoming. So the universe reroutes you, not to hurt you, but to prepare you for something better. Think about all the things you once cried over that now make perfect sense. That's wisdom in hindsight. But the deeper mastery is trusting it while it's happening. Can you stay open when everything feels uncertain? Can you believe in beauty even when you can't see it yet? Trust the delay. It's not wasted time. It's preparation. The universe is not late. It's strategic. You're not off track. You're just in the sacred space where your next version is being built in the unseen. And when it arrives, maybe you've been told you're too emotional, too intense, too sensitive. But what if none of that is a flaw? What if it's evidence that you feel deeply, love fully, and see truths others have learned to avoid? You're not too much. You're just finally aligned. The more you come home to yourself, the more you'll start to notice how often you dimmed your light for others. You minimized your joy, downplayed your gifts, bit your tongue to keep the peace. That wasn't humility. That was survival. And now you're done just surviving. You were never meant to shrink. You were meant to expand. Your depth is a gift. Your voice is a vibration. Your heart is a portal. Don't apologize for the intensity of your presence. Some people will be intimidated, but the right people will be illuminated. So stop editing yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold you. You're not too much. You're the right amount of real in a world that's still waking up. Keep shining. Keep speaking. Keep being you. Everyone wants the light. Few are willing to face the dark, but your power isn't found in perfection. It's found in the shadows. Shadow work is the brave act of confronting the parts of yourself you were taught to hide. It's not easy, but it's the gateway to true freedom. Your shadow isn't evil. It's the wounded, rejected, or misunderstood parts of you that crave your love, not your judgment. That anger, it's pain and armor. That jealousy, a mirror of unmet desires. That fear, a protector turned prison. The more you understand your shadow, the more whole you become. Society rewards suppression. It teaches you to smile through sadness, to push away anything ugly. But the soul isn't here to be palatable. It's here to be real. Healing means feeling, and feeling means sitting with discomfort until it reveals its wisdom. So light a candle, journal without a filter, look in the mirror and ask, what part of me needs love right now? That's where your shadow lives. And when you love it, not only do you transform it, you reclaim the pieces of power you once gave away. You know that feeling you get around someone before they say a word? That's energy. It speaks before mouths open. It enters the room before you do. It's the silent language of the soul, and it's time you start listening to it more than the noise. When you walk into a room and feel drained, that's your body warning you. When someone's words sound kind but something feels off, that's your intuition speaking. Control can be a comforting illusion, a false sense of security that tricks you into believing you can shape everything around you. But the truth is, life is too vast, too unpredictable, and too beautiful to be controlled. The more you try to force things, the more you create resistance within yourself. There's a different kind of power, one found in surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up. It doesn't mean becoming passive or letting life happen to you. It means releasing the need to control every outcome and trusting that the universe has a better plan. It's about knowing that you've done your part, and now it's time to allow things to unfold in their own time and rhythm. When you surrender, you create space for miracles to flow in. You allow the path to reveal itself with ease instead of trying to force each step. The beauty of surrender is that it frees you from the burden of overthinking and doubt. It invites trust, joy, and acceptance into your life. It's the kind of freedom you can only experience when you stop trying to control every single detail. So let go of the grip. Release the need to have everything figured out. Know that you are safe, even in the unknown. The universe is guiding you, not as a distant force, but as a loving partner in your journey. Trust that what's meant for you will find its way to you when the time is right. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the ability to say no. Saying no is not an act of rejection. It's an act of self-respect. It's a declaration that you honor your time, your space, and your emotional well-being. Saying no is not selfish. It's essential for protecting your energy and staying aligned with your highest purpose. We've all been there, saying yes out of guilt, obligation, or fear of disappointing others. But every time you say yes when your soul says no, you are leaking energy. You're allowing your boundaries to be crossed and your inner peace to be compromised. The truth is, your energy is precious. You can't pour from an empty cup.